All right. Hey, how's it, everybody? I am Mad Statter. This is Chatter with Statter. Welcome in. It is 5 p.m. West Coast time. Let's see, I'm thinking 8 p.m. on that there East Coast, 7 p.m. for our Central Time folk. And because it's taken a little while for my brain to get into gear, it's 2 p.m. for our Hawaii style people. That is right. All right, we have got Pussycat in the house. We have got Gina hanging out. We have got Cindy here as well. And you know what? If we've got Cindy, I'm going to guess that Shock is somewhere, even though she hasn't said hello. And we've got Andre in the house. Damn, you're tired. Andre, you don't even know. Cola T, that is me, the MC. And I cannot believe this weekend has just been mind-blowing. Andre flew up to Seattle, Renton area for the show. We had Shock in the house. We had, let's see here, Just Scuzzy was there. We had Boring Pilot. We had Marmac. We had Mark Tikawa. I'm trying to go down. We had Pakalika. We had people that I am just even forgetting. I am so apologetic to those who I did not mention. But it went great. It went great. And I have to say, you guys, literally, okay, 5 p.m. East or West Coast time is when this is starting, right? I just got out of bed at 4:47. Not only did I get out of bed at 4:47, I went and grabbed a coffee and then came back and started. I haven't brushed my teeth. Do I look stinky? I am stinky. I spent the entire day in bed. Now, yes, I was dozing on and off. I didn't have to stay the entire day in bed, and I surely did not intend to sleep the way I slept. In fact, I thought it was 2 o'clock in the afternoon when I opened my eyes and was like, I better check my cell phone. The cell phone said 4:47, and I said, how did that happen? So, if I sound like I just woke up, I did just wake up. And, yeah. So, we can definitely talk more about this, that, and t'other. But right now, why don't we just get the party started? Indeed, Pussycat, I did just wake up, and honestly, with the way I feel right now, I don't think I'm going to have trouble getting to sleep at a reasonable hour tonight. This weekend was just an amazing blur of activities, learning. Did I mention some learning? And then, of course, you know, doing. Exactly, I just woke up. You got me. Yep, I woke myself up in the middle of my little dream. Pocola T. Let's see here. So Andre, of course, he was a wise gentleman. He did not join us for the after party, which really wasn't much of an after. Well, I mean, actually, no, it was a wonder. Actually, it was a great after party. We went to a sports bar that was way too hot, way too loud, way too hot, way too loud. We found a spot that was okay. So Andy could hear, but it was just down the road. It was super, I knew it would have enough parking. It was super close to the venue. Shock had a better place to go to probably in retrospect, but you know, live and flip and learn. And, Steven, RDX, so good to see you. No, it was not a sellout crowd, but I would say that it was half to 2/3. And the level of marketing in Renton was a lot less than what's going on in California. And in California, the marketing for the Seattle show was a little bit wonky. And so I'm not sure the word got out as well as it could have, but that's okay. It doesn't really matter. It was a good crowd. And Not only was it a good crowd, James killed it. I kind of was just like, well, what's Andy gonna do to like make that? Oh my, what's Andy gonna do? What a dumb question that was. James killed it, and then Andy came in and revived it, and then killed it harder. I mean, he killed it even more harder. I mean, harder. I don't even. You know, we are really fortunate. We get to see Andy a lot. We get to see Andy be funny. We don't. We have no idea. We really don't have any idea how funny Andy is until you see an actual set from the start to finish. Not just his one-offs, not just his ripping, not just his immediate sense of humor, but his actual flippin' set. You know, I mean, we get little jokes cold from his set now and again. But I'm talking his actual flippin' set. Dude. Yeah, Andre, man, he moves around a stage like anything. Yeah, exactly. And I'll tell you what, you guys, afterwards, okay, I did nothing on the stage. I was on stage for a cumulative maybe 5 minutes. And boy, oh boy, 5 minutes is stretching it. And even still, I was kind of exhausted by the effort, oddly enough. By the end of the show, Andy was very well spent. And so I'm really happy that the Seattle show didn't end up being 2 shows because Andy and James were both worried. When any comedian, when you're doing 2 full 45-minute sets in a night, you're worried about keeping enough energy from the first set to do a really good second set. So neither set gets the full, you know? So since this was the one set, you know, just like we're going to be doing in California, you're getting the full meal deal. I mean, you are getting it. And like Andre was saying, Andy was just moving around the stage. And here's the deal. He probably would move around the stage more. But the way here is something I learned today, or no, this weekend. You guys are gonna be privy to some of the little things that I was exposed to. And for you theater geeks and things, you probably already know all of this. But anyway, so there's different ways you can set up a lighting scheme on the stage. And because we didn't have a live lighting person, there was one spot, and basically you had to stay in that spotlight. So your movement was actually kind of limited. The spotlight was big. There was ability to movement, but you always want to stay in the light. And so because there was no live, even though Andy moved around a lot tonight or last night, this weekend, I guess is what I'm trying to say, he probably moves around more with a different lighting scheme. If the light was greater, if there was a live light person, he probably even brings it more. Because I know that afterwards, James was mentioning that he felt a little bit limited by the lighting because he likes to move around a little bit more in his set, but because of the light, he was a little bit more stationary than his usual vibe. And so, Shock, don't worry, I won't. There's not a lot that I can say about Andy's set other than you've not heard all of his jokes. Let me guarantee that. And it is way more higher energy than you would think, given, you know, he's pretty low-key funny on Daily Pigeon. He's not low-key funny on stage. He's funny. And I would have said he was flippin', forkin', flirpin' funny. How about that? I brought out the triple Fs. And yeah, Shock, you're in a much better position to leak the details, because here's the deal. I didn't actually get to see his set. I just got to hear his set, because I was just offside in the wings behind the velvet curtains, as it were, you know, so you can't see anything, because if you can see anything, people can see you, and that's one rule. Even I knew this, because I've been in theater back in the day enough. Like, you don't, like, if you can see anybody in the audience, that people of audience, or that audience member can see you, and that's a big no-go in any kind of on stage show business situation. And right, exactly. Don't pay attention to the woman behind the curtain. That's not what you ever want to, see or think when you're having a theater experience. Nobody should be seen behind that flippin' curtain. And so, even though there is some footage I think that Andre got, we won't be sharing it, at least not anytime soon, because technically Andre wasn't supposed to video anything. Now, I'm extraordinarily stoked that Andre videoed things because I need that feedback for what, for future learning purposes, for my own sake. However, he wasn't supposed to video, but he had no idea. In fact, nobody had any idea. And yeah, Shock, you videoed too, but I wasn't sure if you videoed the whole thing or if you just videoed my segments. And so I got your videos and I watched them and I cringed and I was so happy to have them to learn from them. But I knew I would cringe, right? That's just it. Yeah, oh, okay, you only videoed me. Okay, cool. So I got that. Well, I think Andre videoed more than just my little segments, which is awesome. And I'm going to be sharing with his and even though it's illegal video, he had no idea that it was illegal. And the reason why he had no idea that it was illegal, illicit video, is because, you see, the MC, silly woman, she was specifically informed by Andy and James to tell the audience to silence their cell phones and no video or photography allowed. And she was told, this crazy MC was told this about 1.5 seconds before she was to go on stage and tell people that. Yeah, that didn't happen. See, the MC has the attention span of a goldfish, apparently, and managed to forget that instruction the moment she walked out on stage. So, yeah. So people didn't silence their cell phones, did the videos, did the photography, and they should have known better. How would they have known better? Well, the MC should have told them. But she didn't. But that's okay. Part of the learning curve. I've got it in my notes for next time. Needless to say, as soon as I came back out from introducing James Monet, which is what I was supposed to be doing, along with letting people know no videos, as soon as I came back in, I was off the stage, I remembered, oh, I was supposed to. But at that point, you can't run back on and interrupt James and his flow. It's just like, oh no. Yeah, and so let's see here. And yeah, Shock, let me tell you, the last minute correction before the test trick never works. It wasn't in my notes, man. I was focused on, I had notes for every, snippet, and it wasn't in my notes, and so it didn't happen. And so, Picola T, go straight back to remedial MC school. Abso-flippin'-lutely. But this weekend, though, was remedial MC school like nobody's business. James Monet gave me some important hints. Andy literally, walked me through, what you're going to do is you're going to pick up the mic, you're going to take it, you're going to move you're going to blah, 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 you're going to blah, 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 you're going to blah, 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 you're going to, and then, literally every single step of everything, Andy and James kind of, let me rephrase that. I was going to say micromanage me. They absolutely did not micromanage me. They gave me elbow room, but, the template, they gave me a very good, strong template to work from, that for the most part worked great, except for the parts that I ignored. And so, yeah, choreography for lack of a better term, basically, yeah. choreography. And so let's just say learning curve is happening. Learning curve is definitely happening in full swing. But I will say I did have, hey Darlene, so good to see you. Yeah, that's okay. We almost didn't have a show. You didn't know that we were going to have a show. Well, as it turns out, I definitely thought about having a show. And then at 4:47 p.m. today, West Coast time, I woke up and realized I have a show in 13 minutes. So I went and got coffee, and then I came and started the show. I didn't even brush my teeth. And so it's a good thing that you cannot smell what's happening over here. But I thought that I would come in stinky and dirty-mouthed to say hello to everybody. And so now I'm revamping, all of the craziness from last night and this weekend, and the thankfulness that I have to Andy and James for teaching me so much about the ins and the outs. And, I gotta say, even though, showbiz is very much an illusion in the sense that, you look at somebody who doesn't know nothing would look at what Andy and James did last night and they're like, man, they get paid for that 45 minutes. What a great life. Oh, honey bunches, that 45 minutes is not 45 minutes. I mean, we're not even talking about the time that it takes to craft the jokes and then hone the jokes and then whatever. Let's just talk about last night. Okay, so for 45 minutes on stage for each of them, well, okay, that's great. But, you've got an hour or so of prep work before you even head to the venue. Then you head to the venue to check out the venue and to figure out the venue and blah, blah, blah. And then, you do the show. And then after the show, you hang out with people and you do whatever. It was basically an 8-hour day. So it looks like 45 minutes. But actually, it was like an 8-hour day. And so, the glitter and magic of the show business is really just the glitter and magic. It's not, it's all an illusion. There is so much hard work that goes into it. And, okay, so that was an 8-hour day. Great. I'm not even talking about then the planning that it took to put on this show. The pre-planning, the months in advance, the this, the that, and the other. Now, SD Dodger, I am so sorry that I did not say hello when you came in. No, there was not any tape on the stage to where to stand. But the microphone stand was, the spotlight was obviously fairly obvious. The microphone stand in the center of the spotlight, it was pretty easy to tell roughly where to stand. And you could move within the spotlight. But basically, within the spotlight you want to stay because otherwise people can't see ya. And so, that was one thing that wasn't clearly defined, but at the same time didn't need to be. And so that was beautiful. And so, Andre, I'm scrolling back. Andre, you got everybody, but not the whole sets of everybody. But it did get everybody, and you haven't looked at all of them. You put down the camera from time to time to enjoy it. Perfect, exactly. See, and that actually is part of the reason why Andy and James don't want videotaping. The reasons are threefold, from what I understand. First off, if you're videotaping, there's a significant chance, maybe not with the setup you had, Andre, but if you're videotaping with a phone, there's a lot of times people do this. It's above their head. Well, now you've screwed up the view of the person behind you. And so Andy doesn't want that. So that's like kind of the first issue. The second issue is when you're videotaping anything, you're not really present and interacting with the show like you could be. He wants the laughter. He wants the clapping. Every comedian wants that interaction. And so a video camera creates a little bit of a barrier between you and the audience for that interaction. And then the final reason, which is kind of the most egotistical reason, but still, oftentimes, the video quality isn't necessarily that good because, the lighting is just not right. Because, let me tell you, that lighting on the stage was very harsh, very bright. Shock, took some videos of my stuff, which was fantastic, although also cringeworthy. And she was very apologetic. She's like, the white balance is awful, blah, 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 you know, because I am so pale, you know, basically the light reflecting off of my skin. I have no doubt in my mind that the front row of people in that venue will need to go to their doctors for retina burns. Like that light coming off of my legs was greater than the sun's force during an eclipse. I have no doubt they've got retina burns like nobody's business. I looked radioactive on that. No special effects at all. Like, it was just glowing. I did consider, prior to the event, doing some self-tanner on my legs, and I thought, no, what if it looks ugly and streaky? And it's like, yeah, you know, that might have been better than what the au natural ended up being. It's just, woo! And so, but the thing is I didn't necessarily want the video of my performance. I wanted the audio to, you know, hear the rhythm and this, that, and the other thing. So yeah. So basically, though, the third reason is an egotistical reason, which is the video quality, chances are, isn't going to be that good. And we don't want it out and about. Not to mention, we also don't want the sets to get out. And so those are the reasons for no videotaping. And now, especially that I've outlined them all, I will hopefully remember next time to mention that to folks. But Andy and James did not freak out, and it didn't seem like there was much problem with that. With that issue. And so let's see here, Shock. I had a good presence and I came off as confident and not overly squee. That's good to know. I had to, my mantra for prepping was something I used to tell bands that I used to I didn't manage them necessarily, but like I would sort of, you know, coach them like new little bands, and, you know, I would give them critiques on this for their stage presence, basically, because I'd seen enough rock shows that I could tell a new band, don't ever do that again. Well, that was a really good thing. And one of the things that I've needed to tell more than one lead singer is, you own the stage when you're on it. When you're on the stage, it's your stage. You own it. Act like it. And so I kind of tried to keep that mantra in my head, and I feel like I could do it. But ownership of this stage is scary, y'all. That first little announcement that I made to, you know, welcome to the show, blah, blah, blah. I left the stage. I was on stage for like, 45 seconds? I mean, it was not even, I don't know, maybe a minute. I honestly don't know. Anyway, I wasn't on stage for very long. I left the stage. I was literally shaking. I mean, like, now every time I went back on, it got easier, but literally, I mean, the adrenaline, I might have squelched the squee factor, but I felt squee the whole time I was out there. And so, Andre, it was more than 45 seconds? Okay. And, SD Dodger, Keiki made the announcement for her theater performance. Never knew she had that voice. See, there you go. It sounds like she understands that mantra. I'm on stage. I own it. And that is a beautiful thing for anybody who's going to be on stage. MC, comedy, actress, actor, musical performer. When you're on stage, you own it. You need to know that. So let's see here. Shock. Rehearse it once or twice a day between now and Sacramento and I'll be fine. Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. But, you know, who knows? Because we did have a multitude of changes that happened, right? So for those of you who don't know, hey, Jess Scuzzy coming in the house. Mr. Man, I met him and his lovely lady, both of whom were flippin' awesome. So excited to see them there. I was so excited that all the Hamajan gang showed up, actually. I kind of feel like California's got, got the it's got a challenge to step up to, because let me tell you, man, Seattle really, stepped up with all of the Hamajang gang. So we'll see if we can get the gangies from everywhere in Sacramento to come in, because let me tell you, Seattle brought them in. So California, let's see if you can meet or beat the Seattle scene. And let's see here. SD, you would love to come up to Sacramento, but you're moving your oldest call. Yeah, you just can't. Yeah, you just can't. But let's see here. Agina, OMG, even at my super forgiving old university UU church Unitarian, I'm assuming, was super scared and adrenaline driven every time I played music, and shaking when you finished. Such is your own damn stage fright. Oh, you didn't even say damn. Excuse me, I did. And such is your own stage fright. Exactly. Yeah, it happens. But, James and Andy are... I don't even know. I'm just going to say, and this is stupid, but it's just like, they're just amazing. And it's just like, well, it really doesn't paint much of a picture. No, it doesn't. They're gentle, they're kind, they're patient, they're funny, they're supportive, they're educational, they're wisdom bearing, I couldn't ask for a better set of people to be in, to have my back, or whatever, I don't know. They are just, I feel so lucky and fortunate to have found the Hamajang gang, basically. And so shock. Yeah, well, of course, yeah, any comedian has died on stage. So, they have to get over it fast. For sure, every comedian has died on stage at one point. And I wasn't even worried about dying on stage so much, because I didn't really have jokes to tell. I just had info to get out and try to get it out in a way to keep the energy up. Now, I did have a couple jokes, and I failed at telling them because, and this has always been my problem, I didn't leave room for laughter. And that is one thing that both Andy and James have tried to impart onto me. And apparently it's a very common mistake that new people on stage make. The audience came here to laugh. So you have to give them the opportunity to laugh. And so when you go from one joke to the next, or one thing to the next, and blah blah, and you don't pause for the laughter, they don't get to laugh. And so you're stealing from their show in a weird way. And yes, Darlene, bug question. No, we know you mean big question. Did I enjoy myself? Absolutely. I mean, I am still flying high. Exhausted, but still flying high, as I'm sure you can tell. So, yes, I absolutely had a good time. I'm looking forward to looking forward to California, San Francisco, and Sacramento. And let's see here. Looks like somebody came in. Rick, there we go. I thought that. Just literally back from our cabin weekend, a 4-hour high-speed cruise. Lovely. Good to see you and Darlene today, because next week, as I'm sure you guys have figured out, and if you don't know, now you know, next week, no Statterbox at the cinema and no Statterbox or Chatter with Statter. I will still be in California. I looked at my itinerary, and I think I'll be on the plane. Either way, I will not be in Seattle for the show. And let's see here. Cindy Krause, Lady Tie-Dye, and you are excited to go and meet everyone. Okay, so we've got Lady Tie-Dye, we've got Cindy Krause, and Shock is going to be there again. I think Shock might be our traveling groupie. She's not really a groupie, though. And then Andre, it sounds like, probably might be in the Sacramento show, too. I might be making that up, but I might not be. So that's 4 Hamajang gang. So already, I think California will have Washington beat, but still, Washington set a very high bar for those to come visit. And Michi Mama, excellent, good to see you here making lunch. And let's see here, Darlene, yeah, that's where you got mixed up then with this Today show. Yeah, because yesterday we had no Statterbox, but today I knew that we would have time. Well, I thought we would have time. Now, I also thought I would be out of bed before 4:47 p.m. So do we have a show? No, actually we don't really have a show today. We just have me talking about what happened last night, and then I have a couple like brain teaser puzzles that we could look at for fun. But I don't even have a Lono listening break lined up. So that's how out of sync we are today. And and Chuck, you came all this way not to go, but you'll see if you can create a comic groupie costume very carefully. And well, I don't know. I think that now Andre, take no offense at this, but I think Andre dressed up like a beautiful comic groupie because nobody else, no one understood except for like a scant few, but he wore his bright yellow West Oahu aggregate pageant security shirt, which nobody but Hamajang OG would understand that reference, and that to me is a very good indication of a comic groupie wearing a shirt that that is a callback to a joke from years ago. And so Andre was full on, and Andy saw it right away. Well, yeah, of course, Andy saw it right away. Andy would get it, but not everybody in the audience would, it's like, he looks like he's security, but he's not acting like he's security. He's in the audience, and this isn't a pageant. Anyway, what's going on here with the shirt? And so, let's see here. All of this babble, let's see here. Rick, in Seattle, did the non-Hamajang gang learn the ways of the Hamajang? I think so. I mentioned at the beginning when I introed, when I was doing the main intro, I mentioned the Daily Pigeon Live podcast. And then when I introed James Monet, I mentioned the Daily Pigeon Live podcast. And then when I introed Andy, I mentioned the Daily Pigeon Live podcast. And I think Andy mentioned it in his set as well. So hopefully these shows might actually end up with a little bit more podcast viewers. I know that my boss, who was in the audience, she was dying laughing, and she was just like, I don't understand how I haven't been watching this show with you. Because I watch the show oftentimes at work. And so she's, in the background and she kind of hears it. But she's like, these guys are the funniest and blah, blah, blah. So I think at least one person from Seattle who didn't used to watch the podcast is going to watch the podcast now. And I wouldn't be surprised if more people did. So I'm hoping that that this will help expand the online presence. And Shock, absolutely, you are way more of a roadie than a groupie. Way more of a roadie than a groupie. And I believe in Sacramento, I know that in one of the shows, Andy actually does want to get an official video. And I feel like, did I dream this? I feel like he was thinking, I feel like he already talked to you about that? I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, in theory, there might be an official video. Renton was not the place for it. And so, let's see here. Yeah, Andre is, Shaq the OG roadie, and then Andre is just the bootleg cameraman. Right, totally. Which, frankly, as far as I'm concerned, if you don't have a bootlegger in your show ain't nothing. And, Gina, there may or may not be video evidence that you participated in a 3-Chord Thursday ukulele play-along just last Thursday with the Ukulele Union of Boston. Dude, awesome, sweet. Dude, I'm so stoked for you. That is so awesome. Yes, 3-Chord Thursday. I really like that. That is so cute. And so, okay, Shock, you weren't going to bring it up, but you are on the hook for videography. See, she's legit. Awesome. That's what I thought. So yeah, I misspoke when I called her a comedy groupie. She's more comedy roadie. But I still think it'd be cute if she wore a comedy groupie costume. I don't know what costume that would be though. And let's see here. Hey, first-time chatters, Sabrin. I'm not quite sure how to say that, but welcome to Chatter with Statter. I am Mad Statter, and now you are officially part of the Chatterbox crew because you said something, and we are doing great today. But unfortunately, we have no show today. I woke up 13 minutes before I was scheduled to go live, and instead of prepping for 13 minutes, what I chose to do instead was go get a coffee. And then I came in and I started the stream, and now we're here with really no show, but here we are, and here you are, so welcome in. And Andre, thank you so much for gifting a sub to Puzzy Cat. That makes me very happy. And all right, so and Shock, yes, a comedy groupie will not look like a rock band groupie. That is true. That is true. I mean, you could, but it just is something, that style, honestly, is something that I don't see you pulling off. And I say that not out of a judgment or anything, but I am kind of a rock and roll groupie back in the day, and even I couldn't pull off that style. So, yeah, it's just, And how frequently do we stream here, Sabrin? I stream a chatter show, a little chatter talk show every Sunday and every Wednesday. And then on Saturday evenings, 6 p.m. West Coast, we usually show a movie where we hang out and just watch a movie. But Sundays, 5 p.m. West Coast, we've got a chat show. And then Wednesdays, 4 p.m. West Coast, we have a chat show as well. So if you are interested in chatting about not much of nothing, this is the place to go. Right now, we are talking about a show by Andy Bumatai and James Monet. They are two comedians out of Hawaii who are currently doing a tiny little West Coast tour, started in Seattle, and it's got 2 shows in California next week, and then that's all. But I happen to be emceeing for this show, and I've never done that before, so this is a whole learning curve for me, and pretty much tonight is just, or this little stream is sort of a debriefing of what happened this weekend, because most of the folks in this stream are familiar with Andy Bumatai and James Monet, because those two gentlemen are comedians who host a different stream called Daily Pigeon Live Podcast, and Monday through Friday at 6 p.m. West Coast time, they have that podcast, and so we're all fans of that particular set of comedians and their podcast, and so that's why we're talking about it, basically, because I get to be the master of ceremonies for their little tiny West Coast excursion right now, and so yeah, that is the situation. And Michi Mama, great question. Was the audience filled with former Hawaii people, or was it a good mix? I think it was a good mix. And the reason why I say I definitely think it was a good mix is because obviously, like, the dozen or so people that I brought to the show, clearly not former Hawaiians. But I did tell a joke. About Sabrin, hey, if you want to whisper me on Twitch your portfolio, I might be very interested, because I'm useless as tits on a bowl at all of those things. So you can hit me up if you want on my whispers on Twitch. Excuse me. And so, but now I forgot what I was talking about. Oh, crap. Let's see here. Yeah. I got distracted by the 3D and 2D animation montages. And let's see here. Crap. I had something I was gonna say, but I forgot. I forgot everything. I remember now. Okay, so mixed audience. So I do know that there were at least some form of former Hawaiians in the audience, because I did tell a joke. I actually told a couple jokes. But one of the jokes that I told was, it wasn't really a joke. It was more, well, whatever. Anyway, you be the judge. I was like, hey, by round of applause, Are there any former Hawaiians here who, or any former, displaced Hawaiians here? And there was, a little bit of applause. And then I was like, no, don't lie. We've got people out in the audience counting Toyota trucks. We're going to know you were here. At which point people laughed and clapped even harder. And so now the local people in the Seattle locals, that joke did not hit with them. They didn't understand that joke at all. The only people that understood that joke were the displaced Hawaiians. And there was definitely noticeable laughter and applause when I told that joke. So upon that metric, I can say for certain there were displaced Hawaiians in the audience. Another joke that I actually kind of told, and thank you so much for following Sabrin, or Sabrin. God dang it, we're gonna get that right one day. Another joke that right, exactly, if I had changed it to Subaru, right, exactly, satellites would have related to Subarus, but they didn't, in fact, actually, I had to, one of my friends afterwards, she was like, I didn't get that joke. And I was like, you wouldn't. I was like, that joke wasn't for you. I told her, I was like, and then I explained, and she was like, oh, that was a funny joke. And it was like, yeah, now that you understand. And so thank you, Michi Mama. I was kind of proud of that joke. Now, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to tell that joke at any of the other venues because there's no parking lot at the San Francisco. And at the hotel, it's not going to ring the same because the venue had its own parking lot, right? So I won't be able to tell that joke again, but it was a good joke for the time. And then another joke that I told, which really wasn't a joke, it really was just taking advantage of the natural humor of the situation. I was letting people know about the Daily Pigeon Live podcast, and I said, I was like, hey, it's like, where can you see this podcast? Name a platform. Facebook, got it. YouTube, got it. Twitch, you know it. Kick, you better believe it. But can I watch it on LinkedIn? I posed the question, and people laughed. And then I was like, you can watch it on LinkedIn. And people laughed even harder. And so it wasn't even like I was telling a joke. It is naturally funny that, like, what? LinkedIn has live stream podcasts? Are you, what? And because it is kind of odd. And so even though it wasn't a joke, it actually got a good laugh. So that was good. And so yeah, I told a couple jokes but one thing I can say is because Augie T wasn't there, there were a few people that were very disappointed when I mentioned that. There was no but then we explained why he wasn't there and people seemed to be soothed. And for those of you who don't know or understand why he wasn't there, as a reminder, Augie T is a Honolulu City Councilman. He's a council member. And right now there's a problem on the islands. And so as a politician, basically what I said was, Augie has two jobs as a clown now. One in politics, one on stage. And the circus that's going on in Hawaii, he needs to be in that circus, not the one on the road that we've got here. And so people understood that. And so now I'm shilling for LinkedIn. They should put me on retainer. Yeah, I'll gladly, like if you want me to mention LinkedIn and you give me 25 cents each time, I'll be mentioning LinkedIn a whole lot. I don't even have a profile on LinkedIn, but see, I can work LinkedIn into conversation anytime. We can get LinkedIn on LinkedIn. What, that's like $2 right now, I think, that I just earned. I didn't earn anything, obviously. So, yeah, Michi Mama and I think it was Darlene. I honestly, I couldn't craft the joke properly, but I couldn't let it go. Clowns and politicians, there's a joke somewhere in there, right? And so Augie T is both. And I just, politicians, clowns, there was something, right? And so, I did manage to weave it a little bit, and it kind of worked. And And people did get a little bit of a giggle, so I guess I got another giggle off of that one. I don't want to. I didn't want to mock, Augie and what he's doing. Certainly not under the circumstances in which he's staying on the islands. But at the same time, it's like, so the circus that's going on in the islands. I thought it was classy. I thought it was a classy way to make fun of him. But because there was no Augie, we only had 2 people on the bill at that point. So literally at the last minute, and not at the last minute, in the last 5 minutes, 5 minutes before the show, I've been spending crafting on my little phone, my little Google Docs, crafting the intros and the subtleties of the jokes and pause for laughter. I didn't pause for laughter. And all these notes I'm taking, telling, based on 2 comedians. The manager walks in and is like, hey, I see that this girl named Deb Tahara is in the audience. She opened up for Tumea Tunai last time he played at this venue. Do you want me to see if she wants to do a set? And so James and Andy were like hemming and hawing. And so finally I was like, well, even though this worked against my best interest, I was like, well, people are expecting 3. We have the time for 3. She's not going to do a set as long as Augie's set was going to be. Is it going to hurt? And so they were like, yeah, okay, let's do it. So we plucked her out of the audience, brought her backstage, and so now I'm like, okay, I got to intro her. First off, I need to know who she is, and how to, pronounce her name right, blah, blah, blah. Luckily, her name was very easy to pronounce. Wonderful comedian. She had a joke about Mao Zedong that I was dying laughing. Pun intended, if you ever hear the joke. I don't think it hit well with the audience at all, but oh my God, I thought she was funny. So she went up and, she had to confer with Andy and James because Andy and James work really, really clean. And so she had to confer. She's like, okay, can I do this topic, that topic? And they're like, no, yes, no, yeah, So, I mean, we're talking last minute, man. And so now I'm revamping my intros and this, that, and the other. I mean, so yeah, spur of the moment, we kind of plucked her out of the crowd and, making you a star, baby. And yes, she was from Mililani, but she lives up in Seattle now. Wonderful, wonderful woman. I am so thankful that I got to meet her, actually, because she was so encouraging over about me and she was hooking me up with some local open mic comedies. Like, we were talking backstage afterwards. We were talking about, open mics and this and everything. And I've been thinking about going to open mics, just never really did it. And now with her encouragement, I really feel, she's like, I want to see you there. And so I'm pretty stoked on doing that. I'm very happy to have met her. And Andre, yeah, she was super nice. And so Andre, yeah, the Mao joke was kind of deep. I will admit that. And I can't even remember. It was a long bit that built up to it. But the build up basically was that Mao had a tiger mom, and it's like, you're not killing enough people. It wasn't, it's not funny, but it was flipping hysterical. So yeah, super fortunate to pluck somebody out of the crowd like that really, hit it out of the park. And she was super excited, about it. She posted it on her Facebook later because we promised that we would hook up on Facebook, and we did. So yeah, exactly, Mitchie Mama. You can say we knew Molly when she was just a mad statter. That's right. That is right. Well, right now I'm still just a mad statter. A mad statter with dreams, dreaming big dreams. But yeah, all I can say is, regardless of whether or not I'm involved in any of the shows, you guys, if you have an opportunity to see James and or Andy, especially together, You need to just do it. You just need to die. Just die. Like they say on Nikes, just die. Okay, maybe that's not how Nike says it, but that's how Mad Statter says it. Just die. Because, you know, on the West Coast, we swallow our vowels, apparently, on the West Coast. So, just die. And, let's see here. Andre. Ooh, wait. Andre might be coming in with some wisdom that I hopefully will put into play. Hey, remember, Mad Statter, just like the Daily Pigeon shoutouts, count to 3 and wait for the laughs. Listen, you and your good advice is probably going to go in one ear and out the other, much to my problematic thinking and behaviors. I'm going to try. That's really good. That's really good advice, actually. We'll see if it sticks. Because the advice for me has always been, slow it down, wait for the laughs. Slow it down, wait for the laughs. Slow it down, wait for the laughs. Hey, I've got some feedback for you. You might want to slow it down and wait for the laughs. You know, because when you get nervous, and Mitchie Mama, it must be hard because you can't hear us laughing. Well, here, see, that's the whole thing is I don't have to hear you laughing because I can't hear you laughing, and so I just keep barraging, right? Whereas in real life, you need to pause for the laughter, lady. What's the rush? Enjoy the laughter. I don't know who I'm trying to imitate when I say that. But yeah, there you go. And, yeah, and then Andre came in. Andre came in actually on Friday. I had just left Andy and James at the hotel room on Friday, swung into my usual watering hole, to grab a beer. Sitting there talking to SodaWax, actually, and then I glance over, and Andre's there ordering some sweet and sour chicken or shrimp or whatever it was that he was ordering. Sweet and sour stuff, because Wahoo has the best sweet and sour sauce in the world. Or, for those of you who are wrong, it has the worst sweet and sour sauce in the world. That sauce is very dividing. People either love it or they hate it. But Andre loves it so much that he's willing to fly up from the Bay Area just to get the sauce. And to maybe sneak in a comedy show. Okay, he might have come for the comedy show and the sauce was just a side dish. Whatever. And hey, Terry in Scotland, so good to see you here today. I have nothing to offer the stream this afternoon. I woke up 13 minutes before I started streaming. And then in that 13 minutes, I went out and I bought a coffee. So, yeah. But it's really good to see you. And Andre, yes, you did buy a bunch of stuff from SodaWax at the Pike Place Market on Saturday. He texted me and was just like, oh my God, that Andre guy is really nice. And he bought a ton of stuff. So yes, I did hear that you walked away with an armful of deodorants and probably soaps and maybe lip balms. I'm not sure. But for those of you who aren't aware of who are the flying fork we're talking about, there is a viewer that pops in occasionally. His name is SodaWax. But SodaWax is actually also the name of his company. He does all natural deodorants, soaps, toothpaste, lip balms. I think that might be it. And so he's got a booth at the Pike Place Market. He also has online sales. And so if you go to sodawax.com, you can see what it is that Andre and I are speaking of. But basically, Andre went to the Pike Place Market, found SodaWax's booth, and bought all of the anti-stink stuff that he could fit in his arms. I don't know how many he bought. And then there you go. Yeah, he makes toothpaste too. I think I thought I said that, Andre, but I might not have. I will tell you right now, I don't like his toothpaste. And I've told this to him, to his face, and he's like, yep, lots of people don't like it for that reason. And the reason why I don't like his toothpaste is because it has baking soda in it. And I don't like any toothpaste with baking soda in it. Doesn't matter if it's natural, doesn't matter if it's Crest, doesn't matter if it's Colgate, doesn't matter if it's whatever. baking soda is too salty for me, and so I just don't like it. But lots of people love the baking soda action, and so he's got plenty of people who do love that product. Now, I think we are going to switch a gear a little bit. We have been in high gear this whole stream because of my running out of bed energy, getting this running out. But, and this weekend, like I said, for the most part, wonderful weekend. But with every wonderful thing that happens, there's always a punch in the gut. There's always a punch in the gut that's just waiting to take you down. And man, it almost happened. And here we go. It almost worked. And I've been putting it out of my mind, but Pussycat. I know, I heard. For those of you who don't know, over 50 years ago, there was a massive kidnapping of dozens of orcas from the Salish Sea, all of whom eventually ended up dying in captivity. Except for one who managed to survive for over 50 years. And we were gonna bring her home. We were gonna get her out of Miami. There was plans. There was money. There was funding. First Nations people, Native American groups were building her enclosure to bring her back to the cold, salt waters of her home. But on August 18th, she died of kidney failure. And I didn't know, I don't know enough about the kidney failure circumstances. I don't know anything about orca health and their kidneys, but I can't help but wonder if, you know, being in captivity like that, in order for her to get the amount of water that she needed, they literally needed to force feed her gelatin every day. You know, I just can't help wonder, you know, if it was her poor living circumstances that caused her kidneys to fail. And, I don't know. All I know is, there was a lot of hope for her, and, suddenly, without warning, she passed. So it was a punch in the gut on Friday when I came home and my social media was filled with that. You know, I was flying high, and, the emotions came, and then I had to reel it in because it was like, you know, I have to focus other energies this weekend. But I knew I was going to bring it up on this stream. I knew I was going to. So Pussycat, don't worry. Yeah, you didn't tell me the news. I already knew the news. The news brought me down. And I was going to talk about it on this stream. I was actually going to have some video and things like that. I had every intention of getting out of bed before 4:47 in the afternoon, to actually put together a real life show. And that was going to be part of it. But that didn't happen. And so we're here now, with me, you know, being all leaky faced and everything. But I'm glad that you did bring that up, Huzzy, because I really did want to talk about it. And so let's see here. It looks like, Andre, you're saying that they are thinking about bringing her home. You know, I guess, I don't even know, you know? Mitchie Mama, yes, I probably will put one together for Wednesday's show. The honorable thing, I guess, would be to bring her back home. On the other hand, it's like, in order to do that, you have to embalm her? You know, and then if you have to embalm her, it's like, well, you don't want to put her in the sea. Like, I don't know, you know, I don't know what logistics would indicate the best way to deal with that. You know, I mean, how fast does a whale rot? You know, it's like, because unless she's like on a boat, on a cargo ship tonight, you know, I don't know, you know, I mean, are they freezing her? I guess, I don't suppose you could freeze her. Yeah, you know, I hadn't heard that, they were thinking about doing that. You know, on one hand, I think that would be awesome. On the other hand, I don't know if the logistics would make it be awesome. So, you know, who knows? Who knows what will end up happening? But yeah, Andre, you know, yeah, she might have just given up. I mean, you know, the pool was so tiny, the water's so hot, there was no shade. You know, it just, everything was wrong with what was done with her. You know, from the moment of her captivity until her last breath. Anyway, so with all that hope that I had for her, they, you know, people are still talking about, well, maybe we can release others, and it's like, there's no other ones to release. Everybody else that is still alive in captivity was born in captivity. They don't have home waters the way she did, so I'm not sure that that release is really in the cards for the other whales that are in captivity. But you know what? I know enough to be dangerous, so I don't know. And Pussycat, once again, don't feel bad that you mentioned it, because I did want to bring it up. I am just trying to reel back in the emotions here so we can keep it a little bit lighter. And you know, and it maybe end on a less than maudlin note, but you know, yeah, it broke my heart on Friday when I found out. And so, yes, exactly, Darlene, I am hurting a little bit. And so, you know what we're gonna do? And this is so random, but this is what we're gonna do. I am going to show you something on, I spend so much time. I waste so much time on these things. And so now I'm going to waste your time on it so I can go blow my nose. But I want to know, can you find the bee? Look for the little bee. This is a Pussycat. I don't have anything set up for a Lono listening break. That's how unprepared I am. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you this little screen and its little visual puzzle, and you're going to look for the bee. Look for the bee. I'm going to go blow my nose, then I'm going to figure out what we're going to do for the Lono listening break. But right now, look for the bee. Uh-oh. No. I just showed you where it was. Shit. Oh, shoot. Oh, no. Today's stream is just awful. Okay, so I hope you didn't see that one screen. And if you did, forget it. Now go find the bee, and I'll be back in just a second. Okay, here we go. I'm a little bit more or less messed up. So did you find the bee? Did you find the bee? And Andre, yes, the smoke in Seattle is not helping. No, the smoke is not making me tear up, but that's a really good excuse. I might have to use it. But yeah, the smoke in Seattle today is ridiculous, you guys. It's going to be beautiful sunsets, but yeah, in the Seattle area, if you guys are watching, maybe run your air filters, because boy, oh boy, I'm looking out my window right now. Yeah, that is some ugly sky we have got right now. So, let's see here. And, oh no, you had to increase from 160 to 480 because it's the 160 resolution is really bad. Oh, you would have never found the bee in the 160 resolution. Never, ever, ever found the bee. And so, did you guys find the bee? Did you find the bee? Because here's where the bee was. Boop. That's where the bee was. So tiny. So tiny right by the raccoon. So that was my little brain teaser. Yeah, Gina, you know, of course you couldn't see it because I didn't. Well, hold on. Where's my face? There's my face. Of course you couldn't see it because you got to really look at those things. But I'll tell you, man, I spend so much time looking at those. Find the whatevers. I really, it's one of my favorite time wasters ever. And Shock, yeah, on Friday, let's see here. On Friday, yeah, Mount Rainier absolutely was hazy. It's been getting hazy and hazier, but today though, today is the worst. I mean, well, so far the worst. They're saying that it's going to remain the worst or worstest in the Seattle area for a while. The winds are just bringing in the wildfire smoke from Eastern Washington. Eastern Washington right now actually is in a huge fire situation. The areas around Spokane, and Spokane is a very large city. It's the largest city in Eastern Washington. Areas of Spokane had to be evacuated. You know, it's an ugly fire there on the eastern side of the mountains in Washington State right now. Not to mention, we've got fires in the mountains in Washington State, and I'm pretty sure Canada's got some fires too. So basically, whoo-wee, we are nothing but Smokey Smokerson and the smoker who smoked. So, and Andre, that... proof positive the climate is changing. Andre, right there. I was really glad to be getting out of Seattle and getting out of Seattle and for once to smokeless California. I guess California's all burned up. There's nothing to burn anymore. So now it's Seattle's and now it's Washington's turn. I mean, seriously, can you imagine any other year where someone from California would be like, I'm getting out of this wildfire smoke. I'm going back to California. On what planet does that happen, right? This planet, apparently. Yeah. So, let's see here. Oh no, Shock. The original Shiba Inu dog meme dog passed. That's too bad, but I'm not nearly as attached to that dog. The dog. Well, actually, that's not true because I have Dogecoin or whatever. But still, I'm not nearly as attached to that one. But that is a bummer because he was a cutie. He's a very cute little dog. And that's right, Andre, you've got rain coming to Southern California. That is true. That is true. I would like some of that rain to come up here, but I'll let you guys have the rain. I mean, it's a lot of rain. You guys probably do want to share. I don't know how we could organize a swap of weather, but you know. So, let's see here. Okay, Lady Misty, what time is it in Seattle? I'm scrolling back because I missed some things. It is 6:12 p.m. Although when you asked that question, it was probably more like 6:09. But it's 6:12 right now. And, let's see here. Let me see if I missed anything else that people are freaking out about. Nope. Okay. And so, Darlene, you had 90s and heavy humidity with some of the Canadian fire smoke was pretty bad. Oh, God. Yeah, that just kind of sounds miserable, frankly. And let's see here. Andre, it was a bumpy ride because of the storm. Not too bad. Hope you do catch any turbulence when I come down. Or don't catch turbulence. Yeah, I do too. But, you know, I can hopefully handle the turbulence if it's just turbulence. And, now if it's more than turbulence, well, we'll see. When I was little, I used to get airsick. I haven't gotten travel sick in a really long time, and, those are famous last words, aren't they? Oh, I don't get travel sick anymore. Yeah, here we go. Okay, so it's 9:13 there in Rhode Island. Yes, indeedy, that would be the time frame. Where in Rhode Island, roughly, are you? I went and, visited my sister in Providence once. Cute little town. I have to say, though, and by the way, this is not meant as a judgment. It's kind of meant as, like, almost a compliment. But we were there for the water fire festival, or the fire water festival, where they set the little floating fires on the river, you know? So we're walking along the riverbank, and we have to, like, walk under this bridge or whatever. Oh my god, dude, the biggest rats I have ever seen were in Rhode Island. I mean, they were like this flippin' big. They were impressive rats. Now, first off, I have no doubt in my mind that Seattle has rats just as large. I am not even implying that this is a Rhode Island only thing. But, couple things I remember from when I was in Rhode Island. 1, Firewater Festival, super awesome. 2, one of the biggest rats I've ever seen in my life. If not the biggest rat I've ever seen in my life. And then another thing that I noticed about Rhode Island, and this is to show how flippin' smart I am. Or not. So, when I was in junior high, I had the fortunate opportunity to go to England for 2 weeks. So I spent time in England. Actual England. Various and assorted towns, from London all the way up to Edinburgh. So actually not just England, the UK. You know, lots of places we went to. I got to see what England looked like. Then I go visit my sister in Rhode Island. Rhode Island, that's funny, Pussycat. But anyway, so I go visit my sister in Rhode Island. And we're driving around, and I am just in awe, because this is West Coast is obviously not nearly as old as Rhode Island and some parts of the East Coast, right? So we're driving around, and I'm in awe, and I say to my sister, in all seriousness, like not even, I say to her, God, dude, all of this architecture stuff, it totally reminds me of England. I mean, this is just like a new England. Oh, it's New England. Yeah, I had that conversation. This is just like a New England. Oh, that's why they call it New England. Yeah, I'm sharp. Yeah, I'm sharp. One of the sharpest tacks in the box. Yeah, exactly, Picola T. Captain Obvious. As soon as I said the words out of my mouth, I felt like an arse. I was just like, oh, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, you should teach class. Uh-huh, yeah, Connecting those dots of knowledge. Boy, oh boy, I felt like an idiot. Yeah, so, anyway. Alright, so, Pussycat, you've been to Montreal? I've never been to Montreal, but I would like to go there. They have an incredible comedy festival, from what I understand. But Montreal also scares me a little bit because they speak a lot of Canadian French, which is not France French, by the way. Don't anybody let you say we speak French. No, you don't. Not the kind of French that they speak in France. The people in France don't understand what you're saying. The people in France speak a different version of French than you do in Canada, Montreal, as it were. And so, right, exactly, Pussycat, it was very French. That's why I am a little bit leery to go there, because I don't know French. Like, I know nothing when it comes to French. No, Pussycat, the thing is, from what I understand, from what I have heard from French people, and then French Canadian people is the French they speak in Canada is old-fashioned French. It hasn't evolved in the same way that the France's French has. In France, they actually have a government institution about the language and evolving of the language and what is an acceptable versus unacceptable evolution of French words, etc., etc. And so they actually speak a different form of a more modern version of French in France, and it's sort of the equivalent of ye old English versus the English we speak now. And so, I mean, they can talk to each other, but it's like, it's not the same language anymore. And, right, exactly, Shah. It's a 17th century French from a very particular region. So it's, you know, it's its own thing. But here's the sticky wicket. I can't speak French, and I can't speak Canadian French. I can't speak any version of French. At all. So it doesn't matter what version they speak. I don't speak it. And Terry in Scotland, this is the final week of the Edinburgh International Film Festival. Nice. And the Royal Edinburgh Military Tattoo. What does that mean? What is a military tattoo? Because I know what each of those words mean separately, but when you put them together, I'm getting the idea that they mean something very different. So, okay, so Picolati knows what the hell, okay, it just means lots of banging on drums and loud bagpipes and marching. A tattoo is a military marching bands all together. Okay, see, once again, definitely not what the individual words mean. Okay, so it's military pipe bands at the Edinburgh Castle. All right, okay, there we go. That sounds like that would be an amazing tourist draw. I myself would not enjoy it at all, but I believe that everybody else in the world probably would. So yeah, good thing you're not in Edinburgh right now, Terry, because you'd be covered in tourists. Yes, that's right. You'd be swimming in them. They'd be dripping off of you. You'd be covered in tourists. Covered in them. So let's see here. Andre, there is a comic who does pieces on how to sound Quebecois easily. That might actually be funny. And Shaq, you wouldn't need to speak French. Most people speak English there as well, at least for my purposes. Yeah, I guess. And Gina, get ye on Duolingo. Huh, you know, I wish I could. But when it comes to learning any language, I learn words, but the grammar I just don't. Duolingo does not stick with me. I've even tried with, Olelo Hawaii, and it just doesn't stick. Yeah, so, I'm so impressed with people who can actually use Duolingo and learn stuff from it. But for me, it's in one eye, out the other ear. If that makes any sense, which it doesn't, which is exactly what I wanted to portray. And right, Andre, your mom tried to teach you, and yeah, your mom was a francophile like nobody's business, tried to teach you, and it's all you can do is understand a little bit. Exactly. And okay, the street signs, that's good. They're in French and in English. Well, as long as they're also in English, that's handy. Because like in Seattle, in Chinatown, the street signs are in Chinese, but they're also in English. Very handy. And Michi Mama, you're watching a movie made in Finland, and I knew learning their language would be hellish. Yeah, totally. I can imagine. I don't even know what. I wouldn't even know what Finnish sounded like. Like, you could speak in front of me, and I'd just be like, I don't know what part of world. I don't know. It's not Mexican. It's not Spanish. It's not Mexican. I was about to say, wow, that was insulting. Sorry, guys. It's not Spanish. It's not It's not English, I don't think. I don't think I would even know. I don't think I would know. So all right, you guys. It has been almost an hour and a half of me babbling about happy stuff and not so happy stuff, but I actually... I've got a Lono tune in here that, I don't know, did we watch this last time? Maybe it'll be a repeat, but I do have a Lono song that maybe we can watch. So, let's see if we've watched this recently, and if we have, well, we're watching it again. All right. Boop.
Okay, back. Go. Randomly old check. Way below the local speed limit. We know like how fast we go ekahe. Elua, ekolo, ha. Slow it down, brother. This ain't the mainland. Riding in the old check. Way below the local speed limit. We know like how fast we go ekahe. Elua, ekolo, ha. Up the little grass shack. It's small, but it's just enough. Now we plant la eka, elua, ekolo, ha. All that luxury condos, brother. This ain't the mainland. We're putting up the little grass shack. It's small, but it's just enough. Now we plant la eka, elua, ekolo, ha. Ain't the mainland. Sugar. Na ulelo o Hawaii, na huna o Hawaii, na mele o Hawaii, no, Gabby, Johnny, Candy. Yeah. Na ulelo o Hawaii, na huna o Hawaii, na mele o Hawaii, Genoa, Gabby, Johnny, Candy. Forget Israel and Skippy. Carl Street. Oh, sorry.
All right, see, we did have time for a Lono listening break this time. And for those of you who don't know, just in case, little trivia, Skippy that he's talking about is Israel Kamakaviva Ole's older brother. And Lono grew up with them. And so he was actually really good friends with Skippy. Skippy was more his age. Iz was a little bit younger. But yeah, they lived near each other. Down on, Makaha area, back when they were small kids, etc. and teenagers too. So yeah. That is the Skippy of which he is referring to in that particular song. And Andre, I gotta tell you, a Filipina and a Finnish guy. Now, I'm about to say something that is abso-flippin'-lutely offensive, and I know that I'm about to say a slur, but the Flip and the Finn, I mean, that could be a reality show. Yeah, I know it will never go with a name like that, but that's where my mind went. Apologies to all my Filipino viewers out there. I normally would never refer to you as that word that I just said. I apologize. Really, that was not a good joke. But at the same time, it had to be said, right? It had to be said. And so don't go repeating that because it's really a slur, right? Okay, I mean, it really is a slur. But don't tell me I was the only one that thought that. Exactly, Andre. Never heard nothing. And ST Dodger, you represent that remark. Okay, so I hope you can giggle at it because, like I said, I didn't, I understand that what I just said could literally get me canceled off of the interwebs these days. And I'm really glad that we have cultivated love and understanding enough in this community that small jokes can be made because we know we're community. But don't go using that. Gino, I referred to a Filipino with the term that's not really that cool. It's something that you do with, like, a quarter or a coin when you're starting a game. So yeah, you heard it. Yeah, you did hear it. Oh, okay. Oh, what did you say? Oh, right. I'm right over my head. Yeah, there you go. Everybody knows what I'm talking about except for me. Cool. Yeah, there we go. And eMusic, the Swiss Buddha restaurant in Sacramento, was owned by a Japanese from Hawaii who married a Swiss lady. They served Hawaii local food. The Swiss Buddha. That is so funny. There we go, Andre. The Pinoy Finn. Yes, the real Pinoy Finns. Let's see here. Water. Oops. Right, Cindy. Yes, it was used in your youth. Precisely. Andy has referred to that word before. But because Andy is part Filipino, he's allowed. Whereas, I don't know if you know this, but I'm not part Filipino. I mean, I grew up in a Filipino community, but I'm not Filipino. In fact, growing up in my neck of the woods, we did have gang problems, but they weren't Bloods and Crips. It was actually in my town, if you had a house that got drive-by shot, it was because either the real Pinoy boys, the RPG, or the Chamorros did it. Because the real Pinoy boys, the Filipinos, and the Guamanians, they were the two gangs. They did not get along at all. The Guamanians, the Filipinos, no mixing. So to say that I did grow up in a Pacific Islander community. So I may have heard that term that I shouldn't have said more than once. Yeah. So, and there we go. And oh, really, Andre, you've seen many. I'm assuming you mean Pinoys, not peonies, because peonies are a pretty flower. But you've seen plenty that look like me. Well, are you sure, Andre? After you saw the glowing off of my legs last night, are you sure that you've seen as many as many Pinoy that look much like me? Because I was radioactive. My skin was glowing. And the irony is, I actually have more skin color right now than I usually do. I'm actually kind of tan in comparison to my normal. And I was still glowing white. Yeah. So, all right, you guys. It was super awesome to start my day with all y'all. And I'm so happy that we were able to hang out together. I'm so happy we got to relive last night's show together. Hopefully, for those of you in the Sacramento, San Francisco area, we will see each other in Sacramento or San Francisco on Thursday or Saturday, because Andy Bumatai and James Monet will be there, and I will be emceeing. And that's exactly, Shock has it right, exactly right. I was lit up like a halogen headlight. You know, the kind that you think should be illegal and blind you on the street? That was me on stage last night. So, so there you go. Yes, exactly. You're like that too, Darlene. Really, really light. And so awesome, you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out. I'm glad we could sneak some Lono in. And Pussycat, we were going to do it. I was going to break down on stream anyway. It was just a case of when. The moment that topic was going to be broached, all the stuff that came out of my face would have come out of my face. So don't you feel bad about bringing up the topic, because it was going to be talked about anyway. In fact, I want to thank you for bringing up the topic, because we needed to switch some gears, and there you go. So, perfect. All right, thank you so much, Andre, for gifting a gift to Gil Soto. And I want to thank everybody who hung out today, who followed today, who subbed today. And SD Dodger, you're a Pinoy Oreo. There you go. That sounds yummy. You know, what is it? Maybe you can SD Dodger. I know what you mean by Pinoy Oreo, but what if you crushed up some Oreos and wrapped them in a lumpia wrapper and then deep fried them? I think that might be tasty. So, you know, just do that for dessert one day. Or whatever. This white girl might do that one day. Well, because lumpia wrappers are Filipino, right? I mean, lumpia is Filipino, right? So you make an Oreo lumpia, is what I'm thinking. And Shock wants nothing to do with that. But when you said that you were a Filipino Oreo, all I could think of was, let's make lumpia out of Oreos. That's just the way my brain works, though. And I don't expect anybody else to think it's a good idea. In fact, I know that Shock knows it's not. So, all right. Now that I've completely ruined the vibe, we're going to shut off the screen. And next week, I do think, SD Dodger, like Shock said, no. All right, I can appreciate that logic. Now, next week, I cannot tell you when. I cannot tell you what time. I cannot tell you what days. But I am under the impression that next week, Andy and James might be doing some live streaming, vlogging at some point. So I'm not saying that it's going to be on the usual times. But what I am saying is keep your eye out for a stream that may or may not pop up. Exactly. Yeah, Shock. Andy says he's going to try. Whether or not that's going to happen, different story. So, we probably won't have Daily Pigeon Live this week, but we might. So, keep your notifications open. See what's up. If there is one, we'll hang out there. But on Wednesday, 4 p.m. West Coast time, we will hang out here on Chatter with Statter. And then next weekend, there will be no Chatter with Statter or Statterbox at the cinema. But the week after that, everything should be back to normal. Whatever it is we call normal here. And, but okay, wait, hold up. SD Dodger. Saulitas makes a huge carne asada burrito with 2 lumpia in it. Where is this place? I need to go there. I'm assuming probably San Diego, but I need to go there. And Shock, you in California, you will find more of the birria, or however the heck you say that. You will find more. It's all over the West Coast. It's the new big thing. You will find it in California, I promise. Even James Monet knew what that stuff was. It's in Hawaii, for God's sake. So you will find more of it, okay? You will, I promise. In fact, I will make sure in Sacramento to find some. So, not in San Diego? I find that so hard to believe. But okay, all right. I will. San Miguel. Oh, right. Okay, that I believe. But I was like, San Diego? I don't know about that one. That's a big city. But we will find it. And I know, C Honda, birria is goat. I know. But and I thought, okay, so all right, we're gonna go a little long, you guys, because we're talking about food. So when the birria place came into Burien, I thought that they only served goat. And I was so proud, because they only served birria. So I was like, well, clearly they only serve goat. And so I was so proud to say, we have a restaurant in Burien that only serves goat. But as it turns out, no, theirs is beef. That's a liar. Theirs is beef. So, but the beef is good, and they'll probably sell more of it than if it was goat anyway. So there you go. Yeah, food. Okay, we stay. Yeah, exactly. Well, you know what, you guys? Maybe on Wednesday I will do a deep dive in birria, because I don't know if you guys all know what it was. I assumed everybody knew what it was because Taco Bell literally has a taco out right now based on the idea. I thought that it was a nationwide thing, but apparently it's not. And so I will introduce those of you who don't know what the flying fork it is to that cuisine on Wednesday. We'll probably have a bit of a tribute on Wednesday, and who knows what the heck else we'll have on Wednesday, but we will have time together on Wednesday. How about that? All right, we're gonna wind it up, and there you go. Gina, you don't know what that is, right? Okay, there we go. Then perfect. We will learn about the foods, all of the foods, and so there we have it. And C Honda, even Pollo Loco has beer, right? I know, right? C Honda, it's like, I thought it was everywhere, but no, apparently it's not everywhere. Okay, so we will happily educate you, Gina, and then you'll be on the East Coast waiting for it to come, or you'll be on the East Coast thinking, well, why don't I start one of them restaurants? Because it's all popular every place else. Because seriously, you guys, everybody who's ever tried it is just like, oh my God, this is the best thing in the world ever. So yeah, best thing in the world ever is what it is. And that's, I think, what Shock found out on Friday, whatever. All right. For real, you guys, we're 10 minutes late. So I'm going to turn it off because we have things to do. So enjoy the rest of your tiny weekend that's left. We'll see each other on Wednesday, 4 p.m. West Coast time. I'm reminding myself more than you. Take care, y'all.